Initiating Warhammer Wiki. Play tape file 333459. Subtype 93. Subject Malkador the Sigilite's thoughts on Primarch Lionel JONSON.
Of all of the Primarchs, save perhaps Mortarion, Lionel JONSON stands apart. Partially, this is due to his tactile nature. A brooding silence hangs over him at all times. Yet there is something more, something buried beneath his noble exterior. Perhaps this is a result of his upbringing, growing to maturity alone in a monster-ridden forest of Caliban. Even at a council of war, the lion moves like an apex predator. He is always watching, always planning, always hunting. He unnerves even his brothers.
Hello, all you great crusaders. In the Warhammer Wiki archives, we will be learning about Lionel JONSON and his largest achievements during the Great Crusade. Remember to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for the Omnissiah.
Lionel JONSON History, the Great Crusade, and the Achievements of the First Legion. From the celestial tapestry of destiny, woven by the Emperor's divine hand, emerged a pantheon of valor unmatched. Amidst the tumultuous age of the Great Crusade, when the Imperium of Man sought to bind the scattered realms of humanity into a unified whole, 20 legions of Space Marines were forged, like gleaming shards of celestial steel, to bear the Emperor's will across the stars. In the crucible of Terra's unification wars, where the flame of conflict scorched the hallowed soil, it was the First Legion who stood as the Emperor's firstborn warriors. Under his direct command, they fought, their indomitable spirits ablaze with righteous fury, carving a path towards unity with every stroke of their weapons. Yet, as destiny wove its intricate threads, the Emperor's gaze fell upon Caliban, a feral world with untapped potential. There, the Primarch Lionel JONSON, the embodiment of celestial might, awaited his fateful reunion with his legion birds from his own flesh and soul, the Dark Angels. With the Primarch's arrival, the mantle of command passed into his hands, and he, the Lion among men, assumed leadership over the Dark Angels. And so it was, as the eons whispered their secrets, the Lionel JONSON, bearing the weight of the Legion's destiny upon his broad shoulders, ascended to the helm of the 4th Expeditionary Fleet. United under his banner, the Dark Angels embarked on the Celestial Odyssey, their names inscribed in the annals of conquest and their valorous deeds illuminating the path towards the Imperial's grand design. Thus, the Great Crusade surged forth, driven by the Emperor's will, aided by his noble sons. Amidst the stars, the Legion blazed, their souls kindled with unwavering loyalty and boundless courage. Through their triumphs, they sculpted a new era, forging the Imperium of Man with blood and iron. Compliance of Malik. Amidst the somber pages of time, a chapter unfolded. A campaign that marked the early days of Lionel JONSON's reign as commander of the illustrious Dark Angel Legion. This momentous endeavor entailed the imperial compliance of the enigmatic night world known as Moloch. Its execution embodied a testament to the collective might of Legiones Astartes, as the Dark Angels, alongside the Luna Wolves, Emperor's Children, White Scars, and numerous contingents of Imperialis Auxilia, Mechanicum, and Legio Titanicus embarked upon its grand endeavor. Under the mantle of Governance, Kypron Divine, Skion and House Divine ascended as planetary governor, tasked with shepherding Moloch into the embraces of the Imperial Order. In the presence of his esteemed Primarch sons, the Emperor, the beacon of mankind's hope, led them towards the hidden depths of subterranean realms. There, concealed from mortal eyes, lay a warp gate, an enigmatic conduit to the ethereal domains of chaos itself. With unwavering purpose, the Emperor traversed the thresholds of this gateway, venturing into the perilous maw of the ruinous powers. Time, a forgotten concept within those shadowed realms, slipped away as the Emperor communed with the very essence of chaos. When, at last, he emerged from the treacherous embrace, his visage bore the weight of ages, a testament to the trials endured and power attained. The memory of Moloch, that tumultuous theater of cosmic struggle, was shrouded in the depths of oblivion, for the Emperor chose to suppress the recollection within his sons' minds. And so, the secrets of Moloch remained concealed, guarded by the stalwart garrison, a formidable force comprised of nearly 100 regiments of Imperialis Auxilia, their banners raised high, stood sentinel over the warp gate's mysteries. 3 Legionis Titanicus cohorts, their towering war machines resolute, joined their ranks, while detachments hailing from 2 Space Marine legions added their marital prowess to this bastion of protection. The echoes of Moloch's tale faded into the tapestry of forgotten lore. The stoic guardians of the warp gate, steadfast in their duty, vowed to preserve the enigma of that world, safeguarding its secrets from the clutches of time. In silence, they stood as a bulwark against the encroaching shadows, ever watchful, ever vigilant, for the Imperium's destiny rested upon them. Second and Third Rangdan Xenocides. In the year 862 of the 30th millennium, the First Legion and Lionel JONSON embarked upon the next chapter of the Celestial Saga, the monumental campaigns of the final Rangdan Xenocides. In this epoch-defining struggle, their valor intertwined with the mighty titans of multiple Legio households, while the Forge world of Xena II unleashed its Xenite Mechanicum forces to join the righteous fray. The tempest of conflict erupted, as the Rangda, that vile Xenos terror believed vanquished in the first Rangdan Xenocides, surged forth from the abyss. Their numbers defied comprehension, a relentless onslaught assaulting the northern frontiers of the Imperium. For nearly a solar decade, the veterans of the once called First Legion, now reborn as Dark Angels, stood resolute, battling against the enemy that hungered for the annihilation of every world under mankind's protection. Lionel JONSON himself descended upon the Rangda with an icy fury. Unlike his brother Sanguinius, the radiant hero, or the black-humored figurehead Horus Lupercal, the Lion was a silent sentinel against the storm. He did not evoke loyalty through his words or virtuous deeds. Instead, he strode where the enemy thrived, shrouded in armor of his pride and unyielding confidence. Others, drawn by the simple honor of standing by his side, followed in his wake. In the darkest of hours, the Lion's presence cast a pall over the battlefield, a harbinger of death for the Rangda and a beacon of hope for those who fought alongside him. With each stride, he carved a path through the encroaching horde, his blade cleaving through their twisted ranks. His stoic resolve, like an unyielding fortress, inspired awe in the hearts of allies and struck fear into the souls of his foes. Amidst the carnage of chaos, the Dark Angels and their allies waged a war of survival, the clash of empires echoing across the stars. Their valor and sacrifice, an unyielding testament to the unbreakable spirit of the Imperium, held the line against the ravenous Xenos tide. And in the heart of this maelstrom, the Lion forged a legacy steeped in blood and vengeance. And so, for the span of a solar decade, the celestial symphonies of war resounded across the heavens. 9 noble Space Marine legions converged upon the fray, unleashing devastation upon the ravenous colonies strewn across the northern sectors of the Imperium. In this crucible of strife, humanity's bastions were rent asunder, engulfed in the inferno of conflict. Throughout these trials, the legions, champions of mankind's might, bore witness to the harrowing toll of battle. The Space Wolves, their feral might undiminished, lamented the loss of 5,000 stalwart Astartes, their valor piercing the siege of Xena with resolute fervor. The Dark Angels, gathered once more in their resplendent numbers, were not spared from the crucible of sacrifice, for they too paid the price in blood. In the countless battles on the fringes of the Halo stars, they shattered the superior strength of the abhorrent Xenos, their righteous fury and unyielding tempest that swept aside all opposition. This relentless campaign reached its zenith in the apocalyptic maelstrom of the Third Rangdan Xenocide. a cataclysmic clash that reverberated across the stars in the year 890 of the 30th millennium. It was a desperate endeavor, a final stand to prevent the annihilation of the Northern Imperium at the hands of the alien terrors lurking within the outer darkness. Amidst the storm, the great citadel of Vorsag trembled beneath the weight of the Dark Angel's fury. The void echoed with the symphony of colliding warships above Morkar, where the heavens bore witness to a 7-solar week-long clash. In the Crucible of Morrow, where 3 resolute companies of Dark Angels defiantly held the line against the relentless tide of 1,000,000 Rangdan Nero-shackled servitors, victory was forged in the baptism of blood. In the aftermath of triumph, as the echoes of conflict faded into memory, it became painfully evident that the Dark Angels had been forever altered. Their ranks, once teeming with warriors, now stood diminished. The price of victory exacted a toll so grievous that only a tenth of their former numbers remained. Their hallowed brotherhood forever changed. Whispers and conjectures shrouded the grim fate of the old legion, like ethereal veils woven from half-truths and shadowed secrets. Some claimed they fought to prove themselves worthy of their new master, while others whispered of a haunting need to rectify their past failures. Their inability to vanquish the Rangda in a crucible of battle of Advex Moors, and yet a sinister murmur lingered, suggesting that the Lion had sent them to their doom, intending to replace them with more compliant warriors from Caliban. The truth, elusive and obscured, remained a mystery. However, it was the very heart of Caliban that the Lion turned, seeking solace and renewal for his embattled legion. With the Rangdan plague pushed back, the fresh tide of true Calibanite space marines surged forth, replenishing the ranks of what had been decimated. No longer confined to the select few companions of the Primarch, these warriors dispersed across the vast tapestry of the Legion, finding their place in every wing of the Order. A new breed of warrior graced the halls of the First Legion, their path guided by the weight of tradition and a cadence of ritual. Unburdened by the weighty pride that had served as the lodestar of their Terran brethren, they ventured forth, marked by the legacy of the second Rangdan Xenocide. It was this transformed legion that embarked on the ceaseless crusade, a relentless pursuit of their noble cause, as they clashed with the most abhorrent adversaries that besmirched the galaxy. Like celestial seeds carried by the winds of fate, they scattered from Caliban to the far reaches of the stars. Unlike their brethren, who sought to claim mighty fortresses and hold dominion over conquered lands, they sought solace in lonely holds that safeguarded the ancient knowledge of the Legion. Each expeditionary fleet became an indomitable force, entrusted with the duty of patrolling the dark corners where monstrous threats still lurked. Among them, the Lion assumed command of a fleet no more grand or imposing than the rest, for he knew that each vessel would be an instrument of death, capable of triumphing over any foe. With purpose unswerving, he set a course towards the world known to the Imperial cartographers as Sarosh. Yet due to the devastating losses incurred during the Rangdan Xenocides, the First Legion teetered on the precipice of decline. By the year 899 of the 30th millennium, the Ultramarine Legion, like an unstoppable tide, threatened to surpass them in number, their forces swelling to approximately 166,000 legionaries. The scales of power shifted, the shadows of uncertainty cast upon the once mighty Dark Angels, as they stood poised on the threshold of a new era fraught with challenges and the burden of redemption. Feud of Doolin. In the ceaseless march of the Space Marine legions, a relentless contest for superiority unfolded. Each Primarch, born of the Emperor's will, yearned to etch their names upon the grand halls of triumph, to ascend ever higher in the Emperor's esteem. Amongst these warriors, none burned with a more fervent desire for excellence than Leman Russ, the indomitable Primarch of the Space Wolves. Only Horus Lupercal and Lionel Johnson could boast a greater tally of victories, and this knowledge chafed at the wolf's spirit, an unyielding thorn in his side. Yet it was upon the war-torn world of Doolin, amidst the crucible of battle, that the simmering tensions between the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves ignited in a blaze of rivalry destined to span the ages. United in purpose, their fates entwined upon the fateful world, the Space Wolves fought shoulder to shoulder with the Dark Angels, as echoes of conflict reverberated across the blood-soaked terrain. It was within the heart of this cataclysmic clash that the flames of discord flickered to life. Durath, the defiant planetary governor of Doolin, dared to cast scorn upon Leman Russ, branding him not the Emperor's lapdog. Such insolence, a provocation that stroked the embers of fury within Russ, ignited an inferno of rage. Vowed to personally extinguish the impudent governor, he demanded the honor of leading the assault. But Lionel Johnson, a master tactician with a strategic mind that rivaled the stars, had meticulously woven the threads of battle, refusing to let his brother's temper jeopardize his carefully laid plans. In the throes of that fateful assault, Lionel Johnson, a figure resplendent in his regal might, took charge, commanding the vanguard with unwavering determination. Leman Russ, the Wolf King, watched with mounting frustration as his brother, like a tempest unleashed, swiftly dispatched of the insolent Durath, severing the governor's defiance with a stroke of righteous retribution. Yet as the echoes of victory resounded, a tempest of emotion surged within the heart of the wolf, a tempest that could not be restrained. With a storm raging in his eyes, Russ stormed into the very heart of the fortress, a torrent of fury unleashed. In that hollow chamber, the clash of Primarchs reverberated, an embodiment of raw power and will. Blow after blow, they exchanged, their clash unfolding amidst the symphony of titanic force. A relentless battle ensued. The two paragons of war locked in a dance that defied mortal understanding. For a solar day and night, their struggle endured, each a formidable force, equally matched in strength and agility. Russ, a beacon of unmatched power, possessed the raw might that quaked the very foundation of the earth. Meanwhile, the Lion, a blur of calculated precision, danced with ethereal grace, his strikes as swift as a fleeting comet. But as the sun began to ascend anew, a realization, like a sliver of enlightenment, pierced the shrouded mists of their wrath. Russ, amidst the tempest of their clash, was struck by a profound truth, a moment of clarity that shattered the illusion of their futile struggle. A laughter, tingled with the weight of self-awareness, cascaded from his lips, acknowledging the folly that had ensnared them both. The Wolf King, humbled by his own hubris, found solace in the revelations of his own shortcomings. Yet, the embers of anger still smoldered within the Lion's heart, stoked by the perceived betrayal within the first punch that had ignited their clash. Fueled by lingering wrath, he delivered one final blow, a testament to his lingering ire, sending the laughing wolf into the realm of unconsciousness. And as Leman Russ succumbed to the darkness, the Dark Angels, their purpose fulfilled, departed to new frontiers in the ever-unfolding tapestry of the Great Crusade. Since that momentous encounter, a solemn tradition had been forged, binding the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves in a ritual of honor. Whenever the paths of the chosen champions from both chapters converge, a non-lethal duel ensues, a testament of the ever-burning flame of honor for the quest of retribution. Yet, there was also those who, despite the momentary lapse of judgment, understand the true meaning of loyalty and friendship. Such was the case of the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves and their Primarchs, Lionel Johnson and Leman Russ. Though they clashed on the world of Doolin, it was not out of spite or malice, but rather a passionate display of their unbreakable spirit. These two warriors, so alike in their character and values, held loyalty as a sacred tenet and valued action over mere words. The Battle of Doolin did not create a rift between the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves, but rather served to solidify their bond, and in the years that followed, they fought together with a sense of shared camaraderie. It is true that the two Primarchs engaged in a fierce battle, but the notion that it spawned a lasting grudge between them is a falsehood. In fact, the record suggests that their mutual respect and admiration only grew stronger with each passing battle. Their similarities in character, their shared values, and their unyielding loyalty to their oaths all served to forge a bond between them that would endure the test of time. Side by side, they traversed 1,000 worlds, leaving their mark on every battlefield. While Doolin stood as but one of the many trials they faced, it held a special significance, a testament to their unwavering loyalty and shared strength together. Their loyalty knew no bounds, for in the darkest hour of rebellion, when Horus, the Arch-Traitor himself, threatened to engulf the Imperium in darkness, the Wolves of Fenris and the Knights of Caliban stood shoulder to shoulder. The very foundations of Terra trembled beneath the weight of their reunion, as brothers in arms, ready to face the siege that threatened their emperor. No greater symbol could exist in exemplifying the loyalty shared between these two noble legions. United once more, their combined might was a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching shadows. They cast aside old grudges and embraced their shared purpose to defend the Imperium and its sacred sovereignty. The saga of the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves intertwines with the legends of unity and courage. They stand as a testament to the unbreakable bonds that can be forged amidst the turmoil of war, where true brethren, driven by unshakable loyalty, unite to face the most formidable of adversaries. Subjugation of Sarosh. The Dark Angels' 4th Expeditionary Fleet, under the command presence of Lionel Johnson, embarked upon a momentous endeavor. Their destination, the war-torn realm of Sarosh. Once, Sarosh had stood beneath the banner of the White Scar Legion, its halls echoing the resounding battle cries of the swift warriors who held dominion over the tumultuous lands. But fate, like a tempestuous gust, summoned Lionel Johnson, beckoning him to answer the desperate plea of his brother, Jagatai Khan. A bond of kinship forged amidst the tempestuous maelstrom of their differences, for they recognized within each other the virtues of honesty and candor. Thus, the lion, honor-bound, could not disregard the call that resonated within his very soul. The Sarosi, ruled by the labyrinthian web of planetary bureaucracy, had expressed their fervent desire to join the hollowed ranks of the Imperium. With hopeful hearts, the Imperials, guided by their shared secular belief entrenched in the imperial truth, eagerly welcomed these people into their cosmic fold. However, time, relentless in its march, weighed heavily upon the Sarosi, as compliance eluded their grasp. Apologies flowed ceaselessly from their lips, beseeching forgiveness from the chosen imperial governor, hurled first, as their convoluted bureaucracy hindered the swift progress that they had so earnestly sought. Unbeknownst by the imperial expedition, shrouded within the shadows of secrecy, the Sarosi harbored a dark allegiance. Deep within the recesses of their soul, they worshipped sinister entities of chaos within the warp. The accursed beings, christened Melkheim by their devotees, remained concealed, a forbidden truth concealed from the prying eyes of the Imperium. In their distorted perception, the anti-religious tenets of the pre-heresy's Imperium's imperial truth appeared as the embodiment of unrestrained hate, a malignancy that demanded their utmost fealty. The Lord High Exactor, the architect of Sarosi bureaucracy, was summoned to the grandiose sanctuary of the Invincible Reason. Within the hallowed halls of the Dark Angel's flagship, the stage was set for a cataclysmic encounter, a gathering of primeval forces, one a paragon of unrivaled power, the other a harbinger of fanaticism. The Lord High Exactor dared to defy the Primarch's might. With the venomous words dripping from his treacherous tongue, he unleashed his blasphemous denunciation upon Lionel Johnson and the Emperor himself. Such audacity, uttered in the very presence of the Primarch, heralded a reason to awake the dormant fury within the lion-hearted warrior. With his eyes ablaze like an unyielding flame of a burning star, Lionel Johnson drew forth his gleaming power sword, a weapon forged in the crucible of righteous wrath. In a swift and decisive motion, his hand guided by the fates themselves, the Primarch's blade found its mark, impelling the fanatical Sarosi leader. Yet, Amidst the tangled web of deception and betrayal, a sinister plot lay dormant, concealed within the hearts of the Sarosh delegation. A clandestine nuclear device had been smuggled aboard their shuttle, intended to unleash a devastating blow upon the esteemed command structure of the fleet, erasing both Lionel Johnson and his loyal brethren in one stroke. However, fate, fickle and capricious, intervened with a glimmer of hope. Luther, a trusted confidant, and Zahariel Elzarius, a junior librarian, unveiled the lurking menace. In a desperate act of defiance, they jettisoned the shuttle into the cold abyss of space, sparing the flagship from utter destruction. Minor wounds, both physical and emotional, were suffered, but the Primarch's life remained intact. Luther, burdened by the festering jealousy that had entwined his wary soul, confessed his dark contemplations of allowing the device to claim the life of his oldest friend. The rebels of Sarosh, their treacherous machinations exposed, would soon face the wrath of the Dark Angels and the legions of the Imperium. The iron fist of justice descended upon them with merciless efficiency, crushing their insidious rebellion. Yet, even in the wake of triumph, a somber atmosphere permeated the battlefield. Lingering questions seeped into the hearts of many as they pondered the ease of which the Sarosh had penetrated the defenses of the First Legion. Though treachery remained unspoken, doubts began to weave their subtle tendrils, challenging the steadfast devotion of those who walked the Legion's newfound path. Luther, Zahariel, and 500 loyal Dark Angels, veterans of both Terra and Caliban, found themselves cast back to the scorched soil of their forsaken homeworld. Not held as victors, nor condemned to exile, they were assigned a role of guardians, tasked with overseeing the Lion Sanctuary. Their duty extended to the arduous task of recruiting new Space Marines for the Calibanite populace, drawing strength from their shared heritage. Thus, they were severed from the grand tapestry of the Great Crusade, regardless of the countless standard years they had devoted to the Legion, whether within the enchanted forests of Caliban or among the distant stars.
Hey all you great Crusaders, thanks for tuning into another episode here on Warhammer Wiki. Again, new channel, if you can, hit the like, subscribe button, and the notification bell just to be alerted as we're going to be covering all of the Primarch stories as we're getting close to wrapping up Lionel Johnson. Have a great rest of your day, and take it easy.